watching Let's Chat.
Tax season right around the corner. It's been a fast year, hasn't it? We're into the last quarter. Taxes are coming up after the first of the year, and a lot of folks need help in getting those taxes properly prepared. Bruce Antman is here, and Bruce is working with the Urban League of Greater Chattanooga. Bruce, good to see you.
Good morning.
You're looking for volunteers to help folks put together their income tax returns, correct?
Right. This is a national program called Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, which is sponsored locally by the Urban League, and we do a lot of tax returns.
I know in years past, I was kind of surprised at the number of returns that the Urban League here assisted in. Any idea last year how many?
Our region did 13,500. That
Wow.
includes up to Knoxville, but at least half of those are within the immediate vicinity of Chattanooga.
That's a bunch.
That's a lot.
And you
we
need
need
some-
a lot of
You
volunteers.
need some dedicated volunteers and a lot of them.
Yeah.
What do you have to do? What are the qualifications to be a tax preparer?
That's the interesting thing, is that there are virtually no qualifications that you need to have before training to become a volunteer. You need to be reasonably familiar with computers
Right.
and reasonably comfortable talking to strangers. That's about it. We have people who are retired tax professionals, and we have people who have never even done their own taxes before.
If someone comes into your office and says, look, Bruce, I want to help,
Yes.
and they show up for the first training session, kind of take a step-by-step on what happens there.
Okay, we have a 4-day in-person training session, either in the middle of the day or in the evening. That's 4 to 5 hours per day for 4 days. We also have a lot of online resources available, but you do have to come to the training session your first year. The goal is to learn about taxes, and you have to pass a test. You have to get an 80% grade on an open book test at the end of the course.
And I'll tell you, having seen some of the volunteers at work, that's tough if you're a CPA or on top of the tax game. The tax laws seem to be ever changing, so you've really got to be able to keep up with that.
You need to know, you need to be able to know something about it, and we'll teach you that.
Right.
You are not dealing with the full spectrum of tax laws. We're only dealing with people with incomes up to about $56,000.
Right.
So we're not dealing with corporations and all the really complicated things. Plus, you will be using a computer program to prepare these taxes. You will not be doing any computations or any difficult decisions.
Right.
You will simply have to know what to ask people who come in to get their taxes done, fill out a fairly detailed form, and then you also have documents to work from, like their W-2 forms.
And there's always somebody up the ladder if you are a volunteer preparer. You got a question, folks like you were there to help provide the answers.
Absolutely. It's also true that every return we do is reviewed by another preparer who has some previous experience.
Right.
So that you will learn as you go along. That's one of the advantages to being in this program. You can learn a lot about taxes.
When does the first or the next volunteer session begin?
The next training session actually begins next week.
Still some open room in
There
that?
is open room in that. There's actually one next week in the daytime and the week after in the evening, plus further sessions in December and January. Our tax preparation season starts in the middle of January.
There's the information on your screen. The 11th through the 14th, the volunteer training runs from 9 until 2. Bring your own lunch. If you'd like more information, check them out. The email address is vpalmer@epbfi.com. Again, vpalmer@epbfi.com. You can also look him up online at ulchatwith2ts.net, ulchatwith2ts.net. Bruce Hampton,
That's
thank
correct.
you very much for joining us.
Okay.
Again, 13,000 plus in returns. Ballpark idea quickly of how many volunteers you're going to need to make it through this season.
Over that region, we need about 200 volunteers total.
I know a lot of you have some spare time. You can donate to this. Make sure and take advantage of your spare time and help out these great folks as your time permits.